Two Star Trek captains can pull off Spock's Vulcan nerve pinch. Introduced on Star Trek, the original series, Spock, Leonard Nimoy, could render a person unconscious with a Vulcan nerve pinch, but these two Star Trek captains could also perform the maneuver. First used in TOS Season 1, Episode 4, The Enemy Within. The Vulcan nerve or neck pinch involves applying pressure to a specific area at the base of the neck to render a person unconscious. The Vulcan nerve pinch has been used in over 60 episodes of Star Trek across the franchise and works on most humanoid species. The idea for the Vulcan nerve pinch came from Leonard Nimoy himself. The original draft of The Enemy Within had Spock knock the evil duplicate of Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner, unconscious by hitting him in the head, but Nimoy felt Spock would have a less violent way to render someone unconscious. Nimoy reasoned that Spock would have learned about human anatomy and known exactly how and where to apply pressure. Nimoy also posited that Vulcans emitted a kind of energy from their fingertips that aided in the process. Although many Vulcans could perform the neck pinch, a few non-Vulcans also utilized the technique. Kirk and Burnham can do Spock's Vulcan nerve pinch. A handful of humans have been shown performing a Vulcan nerve pinch, including Captain Michael Burnham, Sonequa Martin Green, and an alternate universe version of Captain James T. Kirk, Paul Wesley. After Klingons killed Michael's parents, she was raised by Ambassador Sarek, James Frain, and his human wife, Amanda Grayson, Mia Kirshner, on Vulcan alongside their biological son, Spock, Ethan Peck. Burnham embraced Vulcan logic, eventually becoming the first human to attend the Vulcan Learning Center. Michael presumably learned how to perform a Vulcan nerve pinch while on Vulcan. In Star Trek Discovery Season 1, Commander Burnham nerve pinched Captain Philippa Georgiou, Michael Yeoh, although Georgiou recovered quickly. In Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 3, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, LT. Layan Noonien Singh, Christina Chong, encountered an alternate universe version of James Kirk as captain of the United Earth Fleet Enterprise. Layan and Kirk embarked on a mission to 21st century Toronto where the duo restored the proper version of Star Trek's prime timeline. Kirk used a Vulcan nerve pinch on a civilian to steal a car. When Layan asked where he learned how to do that, Kirk said he learned it from his Vulcan cellmate in a Denobulan prison. Should humans be able to do Spock's Vulcan nerve pinch? Although fans have speculated about how exactly the Vulcan nerve pinch works, it has never been fully explained on screen. While it may look like someone simply pinching the neck of their opponent, there is clearly a level of skill and technique required to perfect the nerve pinch. This raises the question of whether non-Vulcans should even be able to learn how to do it properly. Although a handful of humans have been seen performing a Vulcan nerve pinch, it was usually in situations where they had either mind melded with a Vulcan or were carrying a Vulcan's Katra. It appears that a human can learn how to perform a Vulcan nerve pinch, but can only do it effectively when connected to a Vulcan in some way. Vulcans are not only physically stronger than humans, but they are also telepathic. Both of these traits likely contribute to the effectiveness of the nerve pinch. Michael's use of the technique on Georgiou only rendered the captain unconscious for a couple of minutes. This suggests that while humans can learn where and how to apply the correct pressure to perform Star Trek's Vulcan nerve pinch, it will never be as effective as when a Vulcan does it. In the vast and varied universe of Star Trek, few gestures are as iconic as Spock's Vulcan nerve pinch. Introduced in the original series TOS by Leonard Nimoy's Spock, this simple, efficient, and uniquely alien move became synonymous with Vulcan control and precision. The nerve pinch, an elegant, non-violent solution to subduing an opponent, quickly became one of Spock's trademarks. But as Star Trek expanded beyond the adventures of the original USS Enterprise, with new ships, new captains, and new threats, the question inevitably arose, could anyone else pull off this Vulcan technique? While Spock's signature move seems intrinsically tied to his Vulcan biology, two Starfleet captains across the Star Trek canon stand out as potential masters of the technique: Jean-Luc Picard of The Next Generation and Michael Burnham of Discovery. Here's why. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, the diplomat with mental discipline. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, portrayed by Sir Patrick Stewart, is often revered as the epitome of Starfleet's diplomatic ideals. While known for his calm, reasoned leadership style, he's no stranger to hand-to-hand combat. The Vulcan nerve pinch, however, isn't just about physical force. It requires a deep understanding of Vulcan physiology, mental focus, and precise application of pressure to a specific nerve cluster. Could Picard master such a delicate move? First, let's consider Picard's mental discipline. Throughout the Next Generation, Picard is shown to possess remarkable mental control. In episodes like Sarek and The Inner Light, Picard endures overwhelming psychic challenges. In Sarek, he channels the emotional overflow of the famous Vulcan ambassador, proving his ability to manage Vulcan-like mental energies. In The Inner Light, he lives an entire lifetime within a few minutes of real time, maintaining his sense of self throughout. These experiences demonstrate Picard's capacity for mental focus and the kind of mental fortitude that would be required for mastering the nerve pinch. Additionally, Picard has had direct encounters with Vulcans and their culture. While the Next Generation didn't feature Vulcans as frequently as other Star Trek series, Picard's interactions with Sarek, and later Spock himself, hint at his understanding of Vulcan customs and physiology. With the right training, perhaps under Spock's guidance, Picard could potentially learn the nerve pinch. His calm, centered nature and respect for precision align with the technique's underlying principles. While it might be a surprising move for a captain more focused on diplomacy than combat, Picard's controlled approach would make him a good candidate for mastering this subtle form of incapacitation. Captain Michael Burnham, a unique connection to Vulcan philosophy. If anyone is more naturally suited to the Vulcan nerve pinch outside of Spock himself, it's Michael Burnham. As Spock's adoptive sister and a product of Vulcan upbringing, Burnham, portrayed by Sonequa Martin Green, bridges the gap between human and Vulcan capabilities. Her deep understanding of Vulcan logic and physical discipline makes her an obvious contender for mastering this iconic technique. Raised on Vulcan by Spock's parents, Sarek and Amanda Grayson, Burnham was immersed in Vulcan culture from an early age. Her childhood education, under Sarek's strict tutelage, included the Vulcan science of logic and control, as well as the knowledge of Vulcan physiology. This would have given her not just a theoretical understanding of the nerve pinch, but possibly practical knowledge as well. Given her Vulcan upbringing, it's plausible that Burnham would have been exposed to the technique either through observation or instruction. But it's not just her upbringing that makes Burnham a natural candidate. Throughout Discovery, Burnham demonstrates Vulcan-like precision in her actions, especially in combat. Her decision-making often mirrors Vulcan logic, even though she struggles with balancing that logic with her human emotions. In several instances, Burnham showcases her combat prowess, blending human ingenuity with Vulcan precision. For her, learning the nerve pinch would be less about acquiring a new skill and more about refining her existing abilities. Burnham's personal connection to Spock further strengthens her case. As his older sister, she has a unique bond with him and a shared respect for Vulcan traditions. Their sibling dynamic, explored in Discovery, suggests that Burnham would be one of the few people Spock might actually teach the nerve pinch to if she hadn't already learned it during her time on Vulcan. Additionally, Burnham's ability to compartmentalize emotion and focus on the task at hand, a key Vulcan trait, would make her execution of the nerve pinch almost second nature. Conclusion: the perfect balance of mind and body in the Star Trek universe. Few humans can match the mental and physical discipline required to pull off the Vulcan nerve pinch.